Hey, how's it going? Sunny here with the HomeX Podcast, where we share with you just real-time, first-time home buyer experiences in the hopes to inspire you to help you begin your home ownership journey. I have a special guest with me, a friend, a colleague, and also a client of mine, Mr. Matt Robinson. Could you please just share a little bit about yourself and what you do currently?
Yeah, definitely. Appreciate you having me on first and foremost, Sonny. Really do. Um, Great process that we went through with you. So excited to kind of share that about myself and what we did going together. A little bit about myself. I am 29 years old. I'll be 30 in like 3 weeks. God damn. Ah, not enough
It's not
time,
that
right?
bad, I promise you.
But yeah, dude, I'm from Pasadena, California. Been in San Diego for about 11 years now. Went to San Diego State, joined a fraternity where I met a lot of people. We were in the same fraternity, obviously, so we got that going on. And yeah, man, fell in love with the girl, fell in love with the city, and decided to buy a home out here.
Well, Matt, I appreciate you just for being open to just sharing your homeownership journey with you and that. And just thank you so much for taking this time here. And to get started, I'd like to hear more, man. Like, how did you and Nat like decide it was the right time to pursue home ownership?
Yeah, man. This is a long one. So without dating myself a little bit too much here, me and Nat have been together for a while, and we had been going through the process, right? So like we college sweethearts, if you will, right? We met in college, met in the dorms freshman year, didn't start dating until later on in life. I think our junior year, something like that, just about 21 years old. But been a while, right? Been together for a while. We went through the
Hmm.
process of living in apartments together. We went through the process of moving to different apartments together. We made the move from San Diego State area after we graduated over to North Park. We had been there for about 4 or 5 years. Felt like we had a good footing in our career path, right? Started to put the little money away, and then just it sounds kind of funny, but like just following the natural progression of things, right? Like we
Hmm.
did the whole date for a while, do the anniversary thing for a while. We got engaged in 2023 towards the end of the year. And right after that engagement, part of the engagement for me was like that dedication to her and letting her know like we want to build a life together. So the that came up was wedding or a home. And financially, we figured that the wedding would be a little more expensive and could be pushed on a little later down the line, and that we wanted to really establish our home life by purchasing a house in San Diego and really dedicating our time and our funds to that at the time, and then focus on the wedding afterwards.
Nice, man. I'd love to hear, man, because honestly, and this is something that I just got put on to just recently. I didn't even know, like, they made a Netflix series on it. Like, do you? And I actually have a homie right now as well. Like, he's questioning, like, do I get married first or do we purchase a home first? Because they reached like that maturity in their relationship, and I'd love to hear like how did you and Nat like decide to come to terms with that? Like, hey, let's pursue buying a home first before pursuing a wedding.
Yeah, yeah, great question. I've actually seen that show, the Netflix show that came out. I think it came out right around COVID time. It's like Marriage or Mortgage, right? So
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
we watched that show together, and funny enough, that actually did start sparking ideas, right? Like back in the day, we
Oh
were kind of like,
wow.
okay, like maybe this, maybe that. We started watching it and kind of picking people's brains and kind of seeing how their journey kind of went, right? And seeing how much people were spending on those weddings, and then seeing how
Mm,
much people were spending on the mortgage. Obviously, knowing that we both wanted to stay in California, we knew it was going to be pricey either way. So we figured,
hmm.
why not go the route that can give us back a little bit as much as well, right? Like getting a home, you're still able to put some equity and take equity out if you want to rent it out later down the road. If you want to sell it later down the road, you still have it's an investment, if you will.
Mm.
For the wedding, not to say it's not an investment, but it is a lot of money that goes into a party, and I feel like a lot of the times the party is for yourself and your fiance, obviously, but a lot of times it's for other people too, right? So like
Yeah.
I've talked to a lot of family members that have gotten married, coworkers that have gotten married, friends that have gotten married, and they all say the same thing. Like I spent so much, it was so great, but it was only one day, and now sometimes people end up in debt over it. Obviously, people get help too, right? So that
Yeah.
was one thing that really popped up for us. We didn't want to go into debt for a 1 day wedding where we could make an investment in buying a home and still have that level of commitment to each other, right? Like we're still going to be paying the mortgage together. We're still putting down the money for the purchase together and things of that nature. So still felt committal in a way. And it wasn't that we just kind of figured would be best for us now and in the future.
Nice. So what it sounds like is like, obviously you guys had that history together. You mentioned that you've moved several spots, and then obviously with the commitment of being engaged, it sparked up conversations on, okay, do we pursue home ownership now or do we pursue the wedding first, right? And it sounds like between you and Nat, you guys were able to come to a decision on like, hey, this makes more financial sense for the both of us. Why do you think that was important? That was important to you and Nat to make sure it makes financial sense. And where does that come from? Would you say?
Well, my dad's a bank manager, so he's been bringing me up to learn a lot about finances my entire life.
Wow.
Even that being said, Nat is the smart one with her money, so I will
Mm,
give all praise to her in that regard. I was, leaning towards wedding too, and I was also kind of like split down the middle, but really having that partnership with your fiance, right? You can sit down and have discussions and conversations about where things should be. And I don't want to say she helped me see the light, but like it started making more sense the more conversations that we started to have. Realizing like, you know what, this is going to be better off for us in the long run, and there's nothing wrong with wanting a big wedding, but we can always do a small wedding and still have like our very close friends and family and save some money while still getting the house that we really want to move forward with as well.
mm. Was there like one specific thing that really like had that really made the difference in you leaning more towards buying a home that you can recall?
You know what? I'm not really sure that there was one thing or another that swayed me too much. It's just
Uh-huh.
kind of more that we had that conversation. It just felt like prices continuing to rise in California was a big thing into it. And to be completely honest with you, our property management group raising our rent kind of helped push us along too, right? It
Uh,
was like, paying you guys all this money when I could never own this, or not to say never own this, but probably not likely going to own this over them, where I can go own something for myself and start to think about family life after that, right? Like we have our little dog, we wanted him to have a
yeah.
yard, we wanted him to have some space to run around and to eventually start thinking about things that we want to do um, as we get older.
Nice. So it sounds like too as well, like it became a timing thing. And I think I slightly remember that too. Like obviously with Amanda introducing us, and obviously shout out to Amanda Lee there, right? She did an amazing job in her professionalism and what she does, and you guys were in great hands there. I think I can recall like you guys were definitely under a time frame because your lease was coming up, and so that was maybe a little bit of the push that you needed. And like, okay, hey, can we make this happen now, right?
Yeah, 100%. I will say that again, shout out to Amanda because she came in and helped us out as soon as we hit her up. And she put us in touch with you too, obviously, so that really helped us out. But we did get a little bit of a time crunch. It had been something that we had been thinking over anyway. We were putting money aside for it regardless. But that was definitely the push that kind of like got us over the hump because we were really close to our landlords, really nice, really great people. Shout out to them as well. We had lived in there duplex for a little over 3.5, almost 4 years. We moved from
Oh
downstairs.
wow.
Yeah, we moved from downstairs one bed to an upstairs two bed, one bath, and we were like, all right, we liked our neighborhood, living in Normal Heights and everything like that. They had a bad experience with the tenants below us after we moved upstairs, and that led them to get a property management group. And with that
Mm,
comes a little bit more corporate situation. They obviously saw that we were getting a really great deal to live in Normal Heights, and they were like, you know what, we can probably get a little bit more money out of them. So obviously they followed by state law. They didn't put anything like
yeah,
more than we were supposed to, but they proposed a rent change to us, and that was kind of like our all right. Do we lock in for another 12 months at the raised rent, or do we take this opportunity to really go after the home, which is what we've been deciding we wanted to do for the past couple of months anyway. So when it came
that's
down to
awesome.
that decision, that definitely helped made it a little easier. We were They were great enough to give us a month by month lease while we were kind of going through that process as well. I think when we got the notice, we emailed them back and just told them like, hey, we're really starting our home journey, our home buying journey, and we would appreciate it if you gave us a little levity here. And they were nice enough to do that for us. So it worked out for everyone.
That's awesome, man. You mentioned preparation. I'd love to, kind of touch that a little bit. Like, how long would you say, like, you and Nat actually prepared for home ownership? Would you say?
I would say she had been preparing a little longer than I had. 100%. She was, like I said, always been good with money. Paid off her student loans immediately. Paid off her car early. Things of that nature. I took a little bit longer, but finally found the light. So I'd say realistically, probably about 2 years or so. I put money away, obviously, for the engagement ring, so that set me back a little bit financially.
Hmm.
But the goal was always to move forward and look for a home after we got out of that apartment that we were in for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So I'd say like 2 years was probably how long we were realistically planning.
And was there like one specific challenge, would you say, in those 2 years that you guys were trying to overcome or pretty much, looking to accomplish before you actually, looked into getting pre-approved?
Yeah, we wanted to have a certain amount of money saved up. And I'm sure you know, living in San Diego, so much to do, so many places you can go, it's so easy to spend money. So I think a big part of that
Hmm.
was us just trying to figure out, like, all right, what's important to us and how can we still do these things, also save money to get a home in the long run. So I think part of that was just like budgeting, right? Like trying to figure out how much do we spend on entertainment, how much do we spend on like going out to eat, how much do we spend on going on trips, and still being able to tuck some money away for the ultimate goal of buying a home.
Yeah, exactly. What would you say, after just in retrospect, looking back at that whole experience, what is the biggest misconception from your opinion about the home buying process, would you say?
I say there was like two that really stuck out to me. The first one being that you must, like, you have to put down 20%. That is definitely not
Mm,
the case, as I learned. And then also another misconception that I heard a lot was that it's going to take you months to find a home. Like you have time. Don't worry about rushing into it. Like just get that process started. And we found our home pretty quick. So definitely didn't
mm.
take multiple months for us to find what we were looking for and kind of go through that process. So I think those are the two big ones for me.
Well, so with that, like, why do you feel like it went so smoothly and so quick?
I think a big part of it was the team that we had, number one. So shout out to you and Amanda again. But also on top of that, just having flexibility is something I would say. Like we knew what we wanted to have, but we also knew little places where we could bend and break a little bit to make sure that we were able to ultimately end up buying something, right? Like we expanded neighborhoods just a tad bit, right? We didn't go too far down south, but we had like a certain radius, if you will, that we were willing to expand to. And we talked to Amanda about that. Like, hey, you know what? If we're not
Mm,
able to find a place in this specific zip code, like we're willing to go here, we're willing to go here, we're willing to go here. Maybe not that far down south, maybe not that far up north, but here's our little radius that we are interested in living in. And if we can find something in our price range was another big part of it. We set a limit on how much we wanted to spend, how much we wanted to spend monthly was a big part of it, right? Like we don't want to go over this monthly number. So if something was above that, no matter how much we liked it, we were like, it's gonna put too much stress on us as a family to try to
mm.
push that number up too much. So I think we just played it very smart and had a really great team behind us as well.
Yeah, if I can, as you were sharing that, like it's just starting to click. Like in working with you both, like you guys were very precise, but as you said, like you kept it flexible, right?
Mhm.
How did you and Nat like come up with that game plan, and when exactly did you address that? Because like you guys were definitely well prepared. Like even though you knew exactly what you want, to have the, I guess, the options in your mind, like, hey, we do still need to have some flexibility here based on the numbers and based on what the market's offering. Because not that many people make it that far. Like they might have one idea in mind when it comes to home ownership, that they don't create that flexibility for themselves. When did you and Nat address that in your conversations in home ownership?
To be completely honest with you, probably after our first meeting with Amanda, we had a first meeting with her and we were like, you know what, this is what we want. And she just straight up told us, like, all right, guys, I'm gonna look for this. Just let you know, like, this is what we have in this area code. This is what we have here. Started looking at the numbers and crunching it. One thing I will say about both of us, we're very logical people. Like, we'd much
Hmm.
rather save some money monthly than live in a place where it's like, all right, I really wanted to live in this place. There were certain things that we were willing to, like I said, bend and break on. So maybe like having multiple parking spots, right? We were able to bend that a little bit because we were so used to having two parking spots at our old apartment. We are like, all right, we
Hmm.
don't want to have less than two, but do we really need like a whole parking garage where you can put three cars, four cars, and like have all that space? Like, we don't necessarily need that for what we have in our life right now, right? So,
Hmm.
just taking time to really pick apart our own ideals and kind of look at the numbers a little bit closer. Um, Learn a little bit more about San Diego too. We took some drives around town, just like, all right, like let's check this place out since we don't know too much about it. Would you be comfortable living here? There were some yeses, there were some nos. We
Hmm.
immediately told Amanda, like, all right, this zip code's cut off. We don't want to live here. So just letting you know now, this is how our process went with her, right? Like, it was very open and communicative, not with just Amanda and you, but also with me and Nat as well. Like, if she didn't feel comfortable
Mm.
somewhere, I took that into account. If I didn't feel comfortable somewhere, she took that into account as well.
Wow. So really just having open communication, not only with your teammates, meaning, myself and Amanda, your realtor and your lender, but also having open communication in your relationship, because this is a big decision. And for you and Nat to have the maturity and the clarity to communicate each other, especially in the time that you guys were operating in, because you were a little bit, I don't say under the gun, but now you're month to month on your lease and you've already notified the property management company. And so
Yeah.
you already knew, like, hey, we want to make this happen. And in order for us to make this happen, like, we have to have open communication, regardless of what the situation might be, right?
Yeah, 100%. There were a lot of Zillow lists created between the two of us. A lot of yes and
Nice.
no.
What would you say was the most stressful part about the home purchasing process or the mortgage process in general?
I would say personally, after you put in an offer, right, like that whole waiting to hear what they're gonna say back, that was really stressful because you just don't know, right? Like, do they like it enough? Do they not
Mm,
like it enough? Obviously, we trusted Amanda, so everything that we put out, we were all like, all right, well, it's ironclad because we know we have a great realtor on our side, right? We know we have a great lender on our side, so we're not going to have any issues with any of those things. Now it's just about, do they like us to rent enough or not rent to us to allow us to buy this property? Is there somebody offering them more? There's just so many factors of it that you can't really guess or even I can't think of another word, but guess like what's going to happen, right? You just have to sit and wait.
yeah, it's just that anticipation moment, like, that really just eats at you. Okay, now after getting your offer accepted, like, can you guys recall that moment, how you felt, and what was happening at the time?
Oh yeah, we were in our particular case shocked because it was very quick, right? We put in an offer and then literally like a couple days later we had got it approved and we were just like, "Damn, that was so fast." Like we were obviously super excited when we got the offer, right? And like got it approved and everything closed, but just a lot of shock went into it because we were like, "Yo, we just put this in like 3 4 days ago. Like, that's crazy."
No, that's awesome, man. And I can't recall at the time, like, were you guys? Do you remember what the competition was like at the time? Had Amanda shared anything with you during the process?
Yeah, so we put in a couple offers to a couple different places. The first one that we placed an offer on was absolutely insane. It was in the outskirts of like North Park, almost City Heights area. They listed it really low on purpose. I think they were just trying
Mm,
to instigate like a bidding war. And we came in like I think 20K over what they were asking. And the agent immediately reached back out to Amanda and basically was like, "Hey, like, just want you to know that to be competitive, you guys need to be at like 70,000 over what they're offering." And immediately, Nat and
wow.
I were like, "That's crazy." So that was our first experience putting in an offer. And after that, we were like, "Damn, maybe this is why people said it's going to take so long, right?" But
Yeah.
with the next couple that we put in, we had a couple here and there that we were like, all right, maybe this one, maybe not. I think on the third or fourth one that we had looked into, we went to go visit the place. We met with the selling agent and talked to Amanda, obviously, too, before we went over there and said he really liked us and that he knew the guy that was selling the place and that he really wanted to kind of move that forward for us and put him in touch with Amanda. We liked the place a lot. And once he talked to her, we gave her a number that we were comfortable with. He looked it over. I think he said 2 or 3 days or so. He did come back asking for a little bit more, but we were like pretty steadfast. I was like, you know what? I know this game. We're just gonna say, nah. Like, do you really have someone that'll pay more, or are you just trying to get more money out of us? So Steadfast on Amanda's recommendation, of course, and we got the number that we asked for.
Nice, nice, man. I hope, or actually, I'd love to hear more. Like, obviously, no one ever wants to get rejected, and rejection is, regardless if it's in submitting an offer for a house or some other life circumstance, like rejection is pretty hard to deal with. In those first couple offers, like, how did you and Nat get through that, and I guess just navigate through it and not get discouraged with that journey.
Yeah. Well, I have a sales background, so rejection is like no stranger to me. I'm used to it. So you know all the time, right? I work in marketing tech too, and like I was retention based, so I'm always like up trying to upsell people, trying to offer things in this regard. Like obviously, I want to make sure it matches my customers' needs, right? But a lot of the times, even
Mm-hmm.
if it does, we don't have it in the budget. We can't make it work, and I'm used to that. So to me, it was kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, well, this just doesn't, it's not in the cards, if you will. So whenever we got a rejection or asked for more money and we just couldn't put it up at that time, like couldn't put the funding up for it, I was like, you know what, something better out there is for us. Something out there is
Mm-hmm.
better for us. We'll be able to find the one that we want. We just have to take our time with it, be patient, don't go too out of character with the guidelines that we've made for each other and ourselves, so that
Mm.
when time does come, we're able to pull the trigger on something we really want and hopefully get what we need.
Dude, that's awesome, man. And yeah, so like if you're really gonna make it happen, and homeownership is important to you, right? So long as it's within your boundaries, like there's no point to giving up, right? Like if this is really the time, and you're gonna make it happen, like you're gonna find a way, or you're gonna find the right circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. I think we even talked about it. We went golfing one time and we were talking about the place that we wanted to get, and that conversation opened my eyes too, right? Like you tell a lot of people where you're looking to buy at, and they're like, "Oh, I've heard of that area. Da, 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 good things, bad things, yada yada yada." Right? At the end of the day, you're the one that's going to
Mm-hmm.
have to be there, so you have to be comfortable in your own skin, comfortable with the decisions that you've made, right? So I think that's a big part of it as well.
1,000%. Now, with how long has it been that you guys have been living in your home currently?
We closed in September, so it's been a couple months. What is that, like 7 months, 8 months, maybe?
Close to 6 to 7 months, man. What would you say is like the biggest realization that you've had so far as a homeowner?
People told me this before we purchased a home, that projects never stop. I am a
Mm,
1000% eyes opened at this point. Like, there's obviously little things here and there that you want to kind of work on as your home, but the tinkering never stops, right? Like, you're trying to make this into your perfect dream home, right? So,
yeah.
everything you're like, all right, like this looks cool, but what if it looked like this? And you have all these visions of things that you want for your home, like your forever home, right? So you we've been going through a lot of that lately, just like finding little things here and there where we're like, huh, maybe we should upgrade this. Maybe we should change this. Maybe we should do something like this. Like, all right, maybe we like this design a little bit more. Everything down to like even designing or not designing, but like decorating, right? Like the curtain
Mm,
colors that we wanted to put up in the kitchen, right? So that's a conversation that we have to have, right? So it's just a lot of projects here and there that you normally would never think of. I never thought about what I wanted my curtains to look like in my apartment. I did not care. I was like, we got blinds, it's fine.
yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Like once you go from renting to owning, like that mindset is just different. Because now you just have an own. Well, you definitely have an ownership stake in where you're staying at, and you want to be prideful of where you're staying at. And so now just every little detail about the home, you're going to obsess over it because it's yours, and you want to make it yours. So that's awesome. Is there like a recent project that you guys completed?
The most recent project we completed was, I don't really call this a project, but like we're hosting a lot more than we used to, obviously, at an apartment, and we were able to
Nice.
successfully host a Super Bowl party. So I thought that was really cool. Like we were like real unk status, right? I was out there on the grill cooking burgers, cooking hot links. The homie came over, we grilled some chicken, and just had everybody over to enjoy. The setup of the living room was something that we talked about. So like getting a couch that like fit the dynamics of the house, putting the TV in the right spot that we liked, turning
Mm,
the office into like my own little man cave because I have a whole bunch of, I guess, like paintings and puzzles that should not be in the living room anymore. So little things like
yeah.
that.
It's the Super Bowl or the Kendrick concert?
It was definitely a Kendrick concert for me because I didn't care for either of those teams, but it was still fun to watch.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It was awesome, man. If you could go back, what's one thing you would do differently?
To be completely honest with you, I feel like we followed a pretty good game plan. I don't think there's too much that I would change. I'd say if anything, maybe saving up a little bit more money. Other than that, I think we did everything that we wanted to do. I'm really happy with the result, and like the home that we purchased is exactly what we wanted, right? Like two bed, one bath. We have a backyard. Like you can't say that for a lot of people that go into the home buying experience, but I'm extremely
Yeah,
happy with how everything came out.
it's definitely a unique property, and it was amazing that you guys found that property, man. Now to kind of just wrap things up, like what's the best advice you could give a first-time home buyer that's looking to start their journey or looking to begin their journey in considering home ownership?
Yeah, it's never too early to really start having those conversations, whether it's with yourself or with a partner. It's never too early to start reaching out and learning about the process because that was a big thing that we had to do. I think our
Mm.
first meeting with Amanda was because I just reached out to her. I mean, I've known her since college, right? So I sent her a quick text,
Hmm.
quick message, and I was like, "Hey, me and my fiance are interested in like looking to buy a home." We had our first meeting with her, and I was like, and she asked us, I think, like, "Who do you have in mind for a lender?" And I was like, "Oh, we didn't even think that far ahead, man. Like we were just like having this conversation with you first, right?" So never too
Hmm.
early to start having those conversations because you're gonna learn things that come from them, right? Like obviously after that we learned that we should probably go to our real estate agent with a lender in the future. Now we have one, so we don't have to worry about that in the future. But just little things like that, right? Like learning is gonna happen in every facet of a new journey that you're taking, right? There's always gonna be bumps and bruises and little learning curves, if you will. So I think that's a big thing that I pride myself on. Like I'm not too prideful to make a mistake or have to learn something from someone else and get the education in a different topic, right? Like I want to learn as much as I can, but I also know there's people out there that
Hmm.
are very specified and intelligent in their fields, right? So like if I can take anything and learn some knowledge from them, why not?
1,000%, man. I really don't know, like, because to be honest, like I get in conversations all the time with potential first-time home buyers, and I can already sense, the hesitation and really like this process of seeing what you can afford. If you can make it happen, it's a free process, and you just gotta have the willingness and wanting the want to commit the time to learn about like what you can purchase and how it all works. This is a huge decision and a decision that's going to benefit you and your family for generations, really, if you handle it correctly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So, so I know you're really big into music. Are there any like future projects that you're looking out for this coming year?
I don't really know any big projects coming out. I'm looking forward to a couple of different concerts that I'm going to, so I can kind of speak on
Which
that.
ones?
There's a Joe K, the founder of Selection. He's doing a DJ set out here in San Diego in a couple of weeks, so excited about that one. I think he's at
Nice.
Mission Bay, so that'll be cool. He's been one of my favorite producers and DJs, ooh, probably since I was like a senior in high school or maybe even like freshman year of college. So going on over a decade listening to him, that'll be fun. And then obviously the Kendrick Lamar concert. I had to get tickets for that, so I'm excited as hell for that one.
Oh,
There's a GNX Deluxe coming out at some point this year, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. That's not insider info. I honestly don't know. So it would be great if he dropped something new.
Matt, I appreciate you for taking the time out to share your experience. I really do hope your story inspires others to look into home ownership and to get the process started whenever they're considering it. Not necessarily when they're ready to buy it right now, but whenever they want the answers. So thank you again for hopping in.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you, Sonny. Thanks for the invite. And yes, we will definitely go golfing again. I'm going to text you right after this.